Welcome to the Garden Report. I am Jared Weiss, and I'm surrounded by my friend Michael Pina of Bleacher Report, who is looking really, really uncomfortable and wanting to get the hell out of here because the Celtics somehow played a game today despite the absolutely miserable weather outside, although we're kind of used to it in Boston. But they beat the New Orleans Pelicans today, and this show, of course, is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. The easiest way to get someone hired is to go to ZipRecruiter and post your job to over 200 job boards for free. You go to ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfans, and don't forget our friends at Blue Apron, blueapron.com/garden report for 3 free meals and free shipping. Now that we have paid the bills, let's talk about Marcus Smart, who really earned his salary tonight, although it's not that big of a salary. But he had the second 25-5 game of his career. He was phenomenal in the first half. He was the one that kind of pushed the Pelicans to bay, and then eventually Isaiah Thomas just smothered them in the ocean. But first, let's talk about Marcus. I'm on fire tonight. So why was Marcus on fire tonight?
Well, he's obviously not a superb three-point shooter tonight. I believe he was 5 for 7 beyond the arc. That was impressive. He got into the paint and finished, drew fouls, which he doesn't normally do. So all that was really good to see. Provided the typical fantastic defense that he's known for. And what I took away, honestly, was a lineup that Brad played tonight where it was Smart, Horford,
Crowder,
Jalen, and
Amir.
And that lineup is key because it's so big and they can also switch. And the downside is obviously Isaiah is not on the floor and he is their best scorer and their best offensive player. But when Marcus Smart is creating for others and scoring himself, you can play that lineup and be effective on both ends. So I thought that lineup was really interesting to see. And I know that Avery Bradley obviously didn't play tonight, so that was a big factor and a reason why that lineup played. But I thought that it was a really intriguing thing to look forward to in the future.
Plus, they have Amir to stretch the floor anyway, right? So
he is a knockdown three-point shooter. Yes.
He really is. He's a knockdown, all right. Three-point shooter, I don't know about that. But what was fun to watch about that lineup was that I remember we were sitting next to each other, and the first thing you said when they brought out that lineup is, how are they going to score? And pretty much everybody scored in that lineup. Horford, who had a really bad shooting night, I think he might have scored while they were running that lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And Amir,
3 for 18 tonight. Yeah,
not pretty. But that was part of when Marcus really caught fire there. Tonight was one of those nights where maybe because of the competition, they were able to kind of experiment, and it worked. Marcus was hot from deep. Isaiah caught fire late in the game. What I really liked, though, was that they were making Marcus do everything on both ends of the court. Defensively, he had to guard Anthony Davis in the post a few times. He caught a lot of guys on switches. They were switching everything tonight. I think even sometimes when they didn't want to have to switch everything, they ended up switching everything. But Davis said after the game that he got fouled on those plays against Smart. I'll have to go back and watch the replay, but I'm gonna assume that Davis was a little bit biased in that comment. So what did you see out of Smart playing defense down low tonight?
Well, sure. He's incredibly physical. I think he is probably the best or one of the best defenders at his position in terms of his ability to switch, guard those big guys. We've seen it before with Paul Millsap and Kristaps Porzingis. Those are the big ones that a lot of people like to point to. But you're right to point out Anthony Davis. He did a great job. And offensively, in just about every lineup that the Celtics played tonight, I noticed that, or this is kind of a season-long trend, but just their ability for everyone on the team to drive and kick and keep the ball moving, and they did a great job of that tonight. And I'm not sure how many threes that they made tonight. I know it was a ton, and they keep making threes, and it is a big reason why they won the game tonight.
So it's a stat you've probably heard a lot if you watch this show lately. They had 18 threes tonight. That's
a lot.
So that's 4 games with 17 threes in a row. They are one shy of the NBA record, which was done actually by the Houston Rockets earlier this year in December. So they're close to making NBA history. They'll be going against Toronto to try to pull that off. Then they'll be back in the Garden on Wednesday against the Washington Wizards
yes,
with a chance to get that NBA record. So that'll be interesting. Thank you to Basketball Reference for those stats. So we're going to come back in part 2, and we will talk about Isaiah Thomas, who's good at basketball. This is the Garden Report. We'll be right back.